This is the last paper of our session, Shape and Swarm, hands-on shape-aware generative authoring with Swarm UI and LLMs, and which will be presented by Matthew Jeung.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew. I'm a senior at the University of Chicago and also a member of the Actuated Experience Lab. And today I'm really excited to present Shape and Swarm, hands-on shape-aware generative authoring with Swarm user interfaces and LLMs. So it's a bit of a long title, but the core idea we're trying to introduce is quite simple. So we explore what happens when you combine hand shaping and speech.
It's a big stick figure.
To control Swarm user interfaces.
And then walk.
So why do we take this approach of hand shaping and speech? So a long-standing vision in HCI has been this idea of an intent-aware shape-changing material. And this was introduced as early as 2 decades ago with works like Claytronics and Perfect Red, which kind of show a clay-like material that automatically reconfigures based on tangible user inputs. And it represents a really fluid, tangible interaction method. So in pursuit of this ground vision, researchers have explored a variety of actuated tangible user interfaces. And these works create shape-changing displays and interfaces that really maximize the tangibility of interaction. And particularly, we focus on Swarm user interfaces, which focus on interaction with tabletop robots. So the question arises of how do we control such complex shape-changing systems? And one approach researchers have explored is constructive assembly, where users create more complex shapes out of simpler individual nodes. And one insight I really want to highlight from these prior works is that shape carries a lot of meaning to users. And to illustrate what I mean by this, if you look at this video, if you decouple the shape from the movement, you might just see like a couple of motors actuating arbitrarily. But because of the overall animal-like shape, we recognize this motion as a walking motion. So this leads us to our question, what if this system could also understand the intent of a shape to create actuation? And more recently, researchers have explored using natural language as an authoring tool. And this has been explored in conjunction with other input modalities such as drawing to enable really expressive interaction and animation. And also, we would like to note Shape It, which explores using text-to-shape display, where an LLM agent interprets users' text inputs to create animations and interactions. So this leads to our core concept, which we define as shape-aware generative authoring. And the core idea is that shape and speech are used in conjunction to convey intent for actuation, and then LLM interprets these two input modalities to generate that actuation. And we find that when you combine hand shaping and speech, you get really diverse and flexible authoring control. So next, I'll walk through the authoring method and the different steps in our process. So the first step is always for the user to hand create a shape and define what they've created. So in this case, I create a dog.
It's a button and a dog.
And what you'll see here is that the system is able to figure out which robots correspond to different parts of the animal. So you see that they're like the legs, and we'll see why this is really important in a moment later. So after we've created a shape, the user can instruct with speech to create animations. And as you can see, the robot's legs are actually actuated a bit differently, and that's leveraging that kind of understanding of shape. Additionally, users can create interactions. So the first type is button trigger. And here, whenever I tap on the robot's head, it'll wag its tail. And again, you see that kind of the understanding of shape really creates the expressiveness. And finally, users can create input mappings for more gestural control over the robot. So here, I use this button as a joystick to move the dog around. So next, I'll run through our implementation. And the core of it is that we use a multi-agent LLM architecture to handle user inputs. So the user's two input modalities are speech and hand shaping, and these are stored in the virtual robot state. And this includes the robot's positions, but also this kind of abstracted grouping that the system generates. And we use a multi-agent LLM architecture, and the key point is that different agents handle different parts of the process, so handling speech inputs, but also interpreting the shape that the user creates, and also generating actuation and interaction. And we created 2 custom APIs for the LLMs to call upon to kind of create this interaction and animation. And the key point is that this abstracts and simplifies the control, so users are able to like expect an animation to be produced within like 5 seconds of requesting it. And finally, we use a status display UI to convey key information like the robot's groupings. So all this put together, we think Shape and Swarm has a variety of really cool applications. And this includes interactive storytelling, education, and environment manipulation. And the key point I want to convey is that all of these different applications are possible within minutes of interacting with the system. And it just highlights how flexible hand shaping and speech are when they're combined together. And to kind of explore these applications further, we did a workshop-style user study, which was purposefully designed to be as kind of open-ended as possible. So the first task, we asked users to create an expressive, practical, or educational application, and this was kind of mirroring interactive storytelling and education. And the second task was to create a system that rotates an L-shaped block without directly touching the block or putting the robots next to the block. So in the first task, users created
Make the flowers sway in the wind.
diverse and expressive animations and interactions. And in this example, I want to highlight that
Animate the excavator moving.
because the system understands that the boom is different from the rest of the excavator, it moves it differently. And also in this example,
When I press on the
we're
button,
able to
walk
create
forward.
a walking animation where, again, the legs are identified differently from the rest of the body. And in the second task, the system really shown its ability to kind of flexibly handle the user's unique ideas. So users were all trying to rotate the same L-shaped block, but because of this like flexibility of hand shaping, they were able to take all these really unique different approaches to solving the same problem. Yeah, and then so users also really appreciated this input method of shaping. So for example, participant 7 said, you could let your imagination go and rearrange it however you want to a very high capability. And participant 9 said that shaping seemed to be the most intuitive way to control the robots. However, I think the use of LLMs did limit users in some cases, especially kind of when the outputs didn't align with their expectations. It was hard to adjust and exact very discrete control over the system. And we believe we should explore that in future works. So finally, what do we think should be explored next with the Shape and Swarm? So first off, I think researchers should explore motion-aware generative authoring. And the principle here is that we don't want to just interpret static shapes, but also kind of fluid deformations to the shape as well. And additionally, we believe this general approach is very expandable to other user interfaces, particularly in 3 dimensions or with maybe more scalable systems with like thousands of robots. So finally, we believe that our approach of shape-aware generative authoring is pushing HCI research closer to this vision of an intent-aware shape-changing material. And with our proof of concept system, Shape and Swarm, we believe that hand shaping and speech allows users to flexibly create expressive animations and interactions. So thank you so much. I'm currently graduating next year, I guess, and I'd love to discuss future opportunities as well.
Yeah, we have a couple of minutes for questions.
Thanks. Great talk. I'm Jesse from Carnegie Mellon. Really cool stuff, and I got to check out your demo too, which was cool. I'm wondering, this is maybe an area for future work, if you've considered kind of leveraging image generation models for kind of creating like the goal states for the swarm system, as opposed to having like the individual motion primitives for the individual robots.
Yeah, I definitely think that's like an area we want to go next. I think LLMs do struggle with kind of like spatial reasoning and understanding, so I think like kind of a more vision approach is definitely a future step to go in.
Thank you for your very interesting talk. I'm wondering when AI generate the animation of, especially the dog, if AI has a understanding of kinematics of dog as well.
Yeah, so I think the AI controls the system through kind of functional calls that we abstracted. So I wouldn't say it has a really strong understanding of the like kinematics of the robots, but it's rather just giving them like kind of goal target positions to go to. But I think future work should kind of explore integrating more closely with the hardware, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, and may I have one more question? Is there any question from audience? How did you, I'm curious about how did you send the configuration of robots to LLMs?
Yeah, so we just record their positions on an XY grid, and that's how we represent.
Direct positions. Yeah, thank you for answering. And actually, before closing our session, we have like awards once again for award ceremonies. And can you come front? Yeah, we would like take picture from official pictures.